What's happening, guys? My name's Nicholas Renault, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at exploratory data analysis using the Binance API. So a lot of you have been asking in the comments below, how can we start performing machine learning and deep learning using a real-time data pool? Well, this is sort of the first step in that. Now, this is going to be part of a larger series, which I'm going to call the ML Trader series, and it's really going to be driven by you. So if there's something that you want to see in terms of building up a machine learning trading bot or down the machine learning finance path, I want to hear about it in the comments below. So hit me up in the comments below and let me know what you'd like to see. But without further ado, let's take a deeper look as to what we'll be going through. So in this video, we're going to cover 4 key things. So first up, what we'll do is we'll set up the Binance API. So you need to set up a Binance account and grab an API key, reasonably straightforward to do. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull down the data from Binance with a Python library called Python Binance. Makes it super easy to grab this data down. And then we're going to transition to the data science phase. So we're going to bring that data and convert it into a pandas data frame. So we'll be able to traverse it, work with it, transform it as we like. And then last but not least, we'll do a little bit of visualization using a matplotlib finance library. So we'll actually be able to visualize the candlesticks with our historical data. Now let's take a look as to how this is all going to work. So again, this is going to be super interactive. So what we're going to do is we're first up going to set up an API key on Binance. So again, all you need to do is have a Binance account and you should be able to grab an API key. I'll show you how to do that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to install a library inside of our Jupyter Notebook instance. And again, if you're working inside of an IDE, so say PyCharm or VS Code, again, you can still do this. You just need to install it at the command prompt, no biggie. Then what we're going to do is we're going to explore and visualize our data using a visualization library called MPL Finance. So this is a finance library built on top of Matplotlib. So it just makes it easier to work with finance data. Alrighty, on that note, ready to do it? Let's get to it.
Alrighty guys, let's go on ahead and get this up and running. So in order to go through our Binance EDA, we're going to have 7 key steps that we're going to be going through. So first up, what we're going to need to do is set up, let's zoom in or make sure we're zoomed in. Yep, 125, cool. So first up, what we're going to do is set up our Binance account, and specifically what we're going to do there is grab our API keys. Then what we're going to do is authenticate. So this is really just grabbing those API keys and authenticating to the Binance client. Then we're going to grab some data. So we're going to get our tickers. So you're able to grab all the tickers from Binance. We're going to grab our market depth for a specific ticker. So this sort of shows you what the orders are in the pipeline. Then we can grab some historical data. And this would specifically be the type of data that you use to train a bot. So you'd use the historical data to be able to teach your machine learning agent as to when a stock is likely to go up or down or so on and so forth. Then what we're going to do is pre-process that historical data. So by default, when we actually grab this out of the Python client, the formatting isn't all that great in order to work with it from a data science perspective. So we'll do a little bit of pre-processing on that. So specifically, we'll convert our date columns and convert our numeric columns. And then last but not least, what we're then going to do is perform a little bit of visualization. So we can actually go on ahead and take a look at our data. So first things first, what we need to do is go on ahead to Binance and get an API key. Now, I've already gone and created an account. All I went and did is went and registered. So again, pretty straightforward. So say, for example, I open up an incognito window. If we go to Binance, all you need to do is just go on ahead and hit register, fill out your details, and then you'll get a link sent to your email. You just need to verify your account. You should be good to go. And then all you need to do is go on ahead and log in. Now, once you log in, it'll look a little bit like this. Again, I don't really use Binance for any trading or crypto stuff that I'm doing, but it sort of looks a little bit like this when you actually log in. Now, what we need to do is set up our API key. So let's go on ahead and do that. So to set up our API key, you just need to go on ahead to this little button over here. So let me zoom in. So over here, you can see that you've got this profile button. So if you hover over a profile, what you're going to get down here is API management. So API management is what's going to allow you to create your API, as you might have guessed. So let's go on ahead, select API management. And you can see I've already got one API created. Now, what we can do is create a new API up here. So all you need to do in order to do that is hit label the API key or label the API key and then hit create API. So let's create one. So let's call it, I don't know, Binance EDA, and then hit create API. And this is going to ask you to verify. So I'm just going to quickly verify. And once we're verified, you'll get your API key details. So from here, you'll get two key things. You'll get this API key, which you'll need, and you'll also get a secret key, which you'll also need. Now, what I'm going to suggest in order to make this a little bit more secure is that you edit the restrictions. So what I'll get you to do is hit edit restrictions from up here. So what we're going to do is take off the trading permissions, and we're also going to make it so that only your computer from your IP address can access it. So what we can do is hit edit restrictions up here, and then we're going to untick enable spot and margin trading. And then we're down here, we're going to select restrict access to trusted IPs only. So down here, you can see this. So normally it's set to unrestricted. We're going to choose restrict access to trusted IPs. Then what I want you to do is go on ahead and grab your IP address. So this is pretty easy. You just go to Google and go my IP address. And you can see you're going to get your IP address there. Just copy that. Now this may change. So I was talking to someone previously about how this actually works. So your IP address might change over time. So you can request a static IP address from your internet service provider. However, it might change. So whilst it might be this right now, it might change a little bit later. So you might need to update that restriction inside of Binance. But for now, that's how to grab your IP address. So if we copy this and then paste this into this box down here and hit confirm, that is our API key now set up and now a little bit more secure. So then what we're going to do is hit save and then enter our security verification again. And that is our API key now set up. So again, reasonably straightforward. So all you really need to do is go on ahead to the profile button, hit API management, create your API key, and then it's up to you whether or not you choose to change the restrictions. But I find it's a little bit more secure, particularly when you're working with a trading platform. You want your stuff to be as secure as possible. So what we'll now do is we're now going to copy our API key, and under setup, we're just going to create a variable called API key, and we're going to set that equal to our API key. And then we're also going to set one up for our secret. So if we copy this, type in secret, and then paste that in there. So all we're doing is we're creating two string variables to hold these API details that we just went and pulled down. So first up, what I've written is API key equals, and then this value over here is no different to what you see up here. And then I've written secret equals, and then this value over here is no different to what we've got over here. So we're just bringing those into our Jupyter notebook. Then what we can do is run that cell, and that is our API key and secret now done. Now, the next thing that we need to do is actually go on ahead and install a few dependencies. So specifically what we're going to be doing is installing the Python Binance library. So if we type in Python Binance, so this is the library that we're actually going to be using to pull down our data. So if you want to check out the documentation, it's all available here. And as per usual, all of the code that we write is going to be available in the description below via GitHub. And I'll also include links to anything that I sort of mentioned in here, so you can pick that up as well. But again, keep in mind, this tutorial is going to be an interactive one. So it's going to be a bigger series. So if you've got stuff that you want to see, hit me up in the comments below, guys. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see where to take this. Ideally, I'm thinking we're probably going to end up building up a full hardcore machine learning trading bot, but we'll see where we go. It's up to you. So what we are now going to do is install this. So let's go ahead and install our dependencies. Okay, so I've gone and written one line of code there, but we're installing three dependencies. So what I've written is exclamation mark, pip install, and then our three libraries. So first up, it's Python Binance. So this is this library here. And then what we've gone and installed is Pandas. So Pandas is a really common data science library that helps us work with, or well, it's a tabular data library, but it just helps us work with data in a tabular format. So again, really, really good for finance and particularly for financial analysis. Then the last library that we've gone and installed, or we're about to go and install, is MPL Finance. So let's take a look at that one, MPL Finance. This is this over here. So this just makes it easier to plot financial data. So again, you can do your candlesticks and you can do a whole bunch of different charts. You can perform moving averages, plot volume. Pretty cool. So again, it makes it super easy to actually plot this data. So let's go on ahead and run this. So let's actually take a look at that full line of code. So exclamation mark pip install Python-Binance, Pandas, and then MPL Finance. So let's run that, and that will install our dependencies. Cool. So that is now done. Now the next thing that we need to do is actually import those dependencies. So let's import them. Okay, those are our dependencies now imported. So what I've gone and written there is from Binance import client. So this is going to be our client, and then I've imported some additional dependencies to work with WebSockets later on, but we're not going to do that in this particular case. So then the next one is threaded WebSocket Manager, and again, WebSocket is lowercase, so you would have seen a little error there. It's because I had the S as capitals, should be lowercase, and then threaded Depth Cache Manager. So these are all our Binance dependencies. So we're mainly going to be working with client. And then what I've gone and also written is import pandas as PD. So this going to allow us to work with pandas reasonably easily. Alrighty, so that is our setup now done. So again, what we did there is we set up our API key and our secret. We went and installed our dependencies, and then we went and imported our dependencies. So all well and good. Now, the next thing that we need to do is just set up our client and actually authenticate to Binance. So let's do it. Okay, and it's just a single line. So again, reasonably straightforward to get up and running with this. So in order to authenticate, we just need to write client. Also, we're going to create a new client variable, and then we're going to set that equal to the client class, which is what we imported from up here. Then to actually authenticate, we just need to pass through two variables. These are our API key and our secret. So what we actually went and got from Binance up here. So remember, we got it from over here. We created our two new variables. Now, in order to authenticate to the Python client, we just need to pass those to the client class. So the full line is client equals client with an uppercase, and then pass through API key and secret, and we are all well and good. Now what we can go and do is start grabbing some data. So first up, we're going to grab some ticker data. So we'll just take a look at what's available there. Now, again, this is going to be purely exploratory. So we're not going to do anything too hardcore. This is really all about getting familiar with the Binance API. So let's grab our tickers first up. Okay, so those are our tickers now available. So you can see here that by running this line of code, we're able to get tickers for virtually every single currency pair or cryptocurrency pair that's available inside of Binance. So pretty cool, right? Like you can grab a bunch of stuff. So if we wanted to grab, I don't know, Bitcoin and BUSD, or what is that? I don't even know what that is. So say, for example, we wanted to grab Bitcoin and ETH. I believe that's in there. Let's search for it. BTC, ETH. That's one. There should be another. Let's go up. Oh, it should be ETCBH, ETH, BTC. There you go. So again, you can grab all of the different coins that you've got available in here. Now, again, I'm not a massive cryptocurrency expert, but you can start to see that you're able to get all of these tickers reasonably easily. And so what you're actually getting from here is both the symbol and the current price. So if we actually take a look, to grab a single one, all we'd need to do is go into that. So we can go tickers. And then if we wanted to grab the first value, so that's the first ticker that we're getting back. So ETC or ETHBTC. Now we can grab the second one just by accessing that second array. And you can see that we're grabbing the symbol and the price. So if we wanted to grab the symbol, we can just access it using indexing. We can also grab the price as well. There you go. Now you can see that this price is in a string. So when we actually go and process this down here, we're actually going to perform a conversion to convert the string data that we're getting back to a numeric value. Because as of right now, you're not going to be able to add strings together. It's not going to work as you want it to. So you actually need to convert this to a numeric value. Let's take a look at the line that we actually wrote to grab this data. So we've written tickers. We're setting our variable equal to tickers, and we've set that equal to client get all tickers. So this get all tickers function allows you to go and grab all the ticker values. Now there are a whole heap of functions available inside of here. So you can see that there is a bunch of stuff that you can actually do. And if you type in get is all really to do with getting different types of data from your account. So you can get your own trades, get products, get ticker, get your trade fees, get your withdrawal history. So there's a whole bunch of different types of data that's actually available from the Binance API. Now, in this particular case, we're just grabbing our ticker data. So we've written tickers equals client.get all tickers. And then we've got a parentheses at the end because it is a function or method. And then what we've gone and written below that is tickers to just go and render it out. So if I just wrote this, you wouldn't actually see the result, but we can also write a new cell to show tickers. Cool, right? Now, that is done. The next thing, that's BTC USD there. So that would be the USD currency conversion there. Pretty good to know. Again, you've got a whole bunch of different types of currency pairs that are available in here. Now, what we might want to do is actually put this inside of a pandas data frame. So again, if you're familiar with data science or if you prefer working with pandas, I personally think it just makes it a whole bunch easier to work with. So let's go on ahead and do that. Okay, that is our ticker data now in a data frame. So again, really, really simple to actually put this together. So all I've written is ticker underscore DF, and you could name this data frame really whatever you wanted to. If you want it to be DF or ticker DF or whatever you want, you can name that variable whatever you want. So ticker underscore DF equals pd.dataframe, data frame in caps or camel case. And then to that, we're passing through our tickers data, which we got from up here. So if we now type in ticker df.head, you'll actually be able to view the first 5 rows of data from your data frame. And if we type in df.tail or ticker df.tail, we'll be able to view the last 5 rows. So again, makes it way easier to actually process your data and work with it. Now we could even make our symbol an index and be able to search through it to make your life a whole bunch easier to actually work with this data. So what we could do is we could type in ticker df.setIndex, and we could set that equal to symbol and type in place equals true. So then when we actually take a look at our ticker df data, you can see that our symbol is now set as the index. So if we wanted to grab a specific component, we could just type in lock and then BTC USD, I think it was T. There you go. So that allows you to search through that data frame a whole lot easier. So in this case, to grab a specific currency pair, we can actually just use the lock function to go and grab a specific location. So you can see what I've written there is ticker underscore df dot set index. And then basically what we're saying is what column do we want to be our index or our main column? And then we've gone and set that to our symbol column. And then we've specified in place equals true. So this means it's going to apply it to the data frame in place. Then what we can actually do, because that column is now set as the index, we can actually start to search through it or identify a specific location a whole bunch easier. So say, for example, we wanted to grab BTC USD, we can just type in ticker underscore df dot LOC, and then inside of square brackets, just pass through the currency pair that you want. So in this case, I've passed through BTC USDT to grab the Bitcoin USD conversion. Now we could type in, ETH BTC. To grab a different price. So again, you can go and grab a different values. Now, if you wanted the price, all you can do is just type in price, and this will give you the specific price. Now, you can see here that this is a string. So if you wanted to convert this, you can just wrap it in a float, and that will give you a numeric number. So again, a whole bunch of stuff that you can actually do with this data and reasonably quick to get up and running. Now, that is our ticker data done. So that's step 3 done. Shows you how to grab some ticker data. The next thing that we want to do is get some depth. So say, for example, we wanted to grab market depth for Ethereum Bitcoin or the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. Let's go on ahead and do that. Okay, that is our depth data now retrieved. So what I've gone and written is depth equals client.get underscore order underscore book, and then we've passed through the symbol that we want. So symbol equals ETH-BTC. Now, if we take a look at our depth data, you can see that what we're getting out of this is the last updated time, and we're also getting the different bids at the different price points. So you can see here that at this particular bid, this is the request, this particular bid, this is the particular request. So again, you can actually start searching through what's actually happening here. So again, this allows you to get market depth. Pretty cool, right? Now, again, you could change this if you wanted. So say, for example, you wanted Bitcoin USD, you could type BTC USDT. And again, you're going to be able to get your market depth and all the different prices, as well as the different spreads. So again, you can get the bid and ask. You can see ask is down here. Cool, right? Now, what we can do is say, for example, we wanted to plot out our bids. Well, what we can do is, again, put this inside of a data frame. So let's go on ahead and do it. Okay, there you go. So what we've gone and done there is we've visualized just the bids, not the asks in this particular case. So what you can actually see here is that we've got the volume that we're actually displaying. The volume that we're actually displaying here is the volume for the bids. Now we could change this to asks if we wanted to, and that's going to switch it up. So again, all you need to do is change that. So let's take a look at the code that we wrote. So what we've gone and written is depth underscore df equals pd.dataframe, data frame in camel case. And then to that, we've passed through the data set that we want to visualize. So in this case, we're visualizing the asks. So depth, and then inside of square brackets, we're passing through asks. And then what we're doing is we're resetting our columns. So if you don't set the columns, then you're not actually going to get the column names displayed. So if we actually drop this line, you'd see that you'd have your data frame, and column 1 would be named 0, column 2 would be named 1. Again, nothing crazy there. And then what we're going and doing is we're visualizing the first 5 rows of data. So again, this is standard Python functionality there. So again, first line is going and creating the data frame. Second line is setting the column names. And then third line is visualizing the actual data within that. Now, again, you could change this from asks to bids reasonably easily. You just need to change the index that you're passing through to this little section over here. So that'll change it to bids. This is asks. So again, you can visualize this reasonably easily. So this sort of shows you what's possible with the Binance API. That being said, what I really want to hear from you is where you'd like to see this taken. So again, are we building a full-blown machine learning trading bot? Are we looking at risk management? Are we looking at placing automated trades, performing reinforcement learning? Do we want to visualize some of this stuff inside of a web app? Again, this is all stuff that we could potentially do. So that is step 4 now done. So we've gone and grabbed our market depth. Now, the next thing that we want to do is actually go on ahead and grab some historical data. Now, a key thing to note is that when you're working with these data sets, it's fine to take a look at them like this, but the data isn't actually in an appropriate format if you'd want to perform calculations on them. I believe these 2 current data sets are currently saved as strings. So if I type in depth_df.dtypes, you can see that right now they're both reading as objects. So price is an object, volume is an object. That means that this value and this value, both of them are actually strings at the moment. So in order to actually visualize or perform calculations, you'd want to go and perform some data transformation. That's exactly what we're going to do down here. So in step 5 and 6, we're going to grab our historical data for a particular currency pair. We'll then go and pre-process that historical data and then visualize it down here. So let's go on ahead and do this. So we're going to grab some historical data. Okay, that is our historical data now retrieved. So if we actually take a look at this historical variable, we'll actually be able to see what we've got. Historical. So you can see we've got a whole bunch of numbers here. Now, the unfortunate thing about this is that it doesn't actually tell you what each one of these values are. But I've actually gone and grabbed a bit of a dictionary that sort of shows that. So these are what each one of these values represents. So let me paste this into here. So the first value is the open time, and this is stored in epochs and seconds. The next 3 values are your open, high, low, close. So open, high, low, and close. Then you've got your volume value, close time, quote asset number, number of trades, taker by base asset volume, taker by quote asset volume. Now, again, I'm not too familiar with these. So if you are a finance wizard, let me know in the comments below what these are actually used for. And then we've got a column which is just ignored. Now, the line that we wrote to actually go and grab this is actually quite involved. So what we wrote is historical equals client dot get underscore historical underscore clients. And then to that, we've passed through 3 different parameters. So we've passed through the symbol that we want to grab, so ETH-BTC. Then we've passed through the interval that we want to grab our data for. So in this case, I've grabbed it at a daily interval. And then I've also grabbed the date from that I want to grab it from. Now, I've just passed through a really, really early date. I'm pretty sure ETH wasn't actually around back then. It might have been, who knows? Again, let me know in the comments below when it was actually listed. So I've got 1 January 2011. Now, let's actually take a look at this function. So here, so client.get historical clients. So what you can see is that there are a whole bunch of different variables that you can pass to this. So we can pass through the symbol, we can pass through the type, we can pass through the interval. The type is actually string. So we can grab the symbol, the interval, the start date, the end date, the limit. So how much data we want to grab. And then we can also grab the spot or futures value. So I believe by default, what are we grabbing? Probably spot, to be honest. And then it looks like we're going to grab back our open, high, low, close, and volume value. So again, whole bunch of stuff that you can do with this. If you wanted to change the interval, you can do that as well. So if I type in dot interval, what is it? Klein. So you've got a whole bunch of different intervals that you can pull through. So say, for example, you wanted 15-minute data. We can change that and grab our 15-minute data as well. So again, there's a whole bunch of ways that you can actually manipulate this to get different types of data. I'm guessing this is now going to take a while to grab back. So hold on, let's wait for that to run. All right, I'm getting bored waiting for this. Let's actually grab less data. So rather than grabbing 15 minutes from the 1st of January 2011, let's actually grab it from, I don't know, yesterday. So what would that be? Let's grab it from a couple of days ago. So 8th of June 2021. Should be a little faster. Hopefully, there you go. So again, grabbing a whole heap of data is obviously going to take a lot more time. So I've passed through 15 minutes and tried to grab it back from the initial listing date. Going to take a ton of time to actually go back and grab that data. Now, in this case, all I did there was rather than going all the way back, I've just changed it till a couple of days ago. So the 8th of June 2021. Now, again, if you wanted to grab all of that data back from a huge time period ago, you could definitely do that. So say, for example, we're trying to build a bot that worked a little bit better. You might actually want to grab really, really far out historical data. In this case, just to sort of show you what's possible, I've just cut down the date. Now, again, let's go on ahead and change this back to daily. So if we type in .Klein and let's grab the daily value, so you can see that we've actually got Klein interval 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, so on and so forth. So you got a whole bunch of different combos that you can pass through to here. Now I'm just going to set the date way back just to make sure we grab everything. Okay, that's looking good. So that's our daily historical data back from 1st of January 2011. Now I believe it's limited to 500 values, but you can start to see what we've got. Now what we want to do is, as per usual, get this data into a data frame, but rather than just sort of leaving it at this stage, we're going to take this a bit further this time. So let's go on ahead and do that. Okay, so again, pretty straightforward to get our data into a data frame. So I've just written hist_df equals pd.data frame, again in camel case, and then we've passed through these data sets over here, or this data set. So remember, our historical data frame had all of these values. Now it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different values, which correspond to this. And again, I'm going to make this available inside of the Jupyter Notebook on the GitHub description. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So again, 12 values, 12 values. These are the mappings for each one of those values. So if we put this data into our data frame, ideally, we should get 12 different values. So let's go on ahead and take a look at that. So if we type in histdf.head, you can see we've got all of our 12 values. So starting at 0, we go all the way out to value 11. Now, what we can actually do is change those columns. Remember, we changed our column names over here to price and volume for our depth data. What we can do is a similar thing, but this time we'll do it for our historical data. So let's go on ahead and do that. So we can set our columns just by accessing the column attribute from our data frame. So hist_df.columns, and this is going to allow us to reset our column names. So let's go on ahead and reset it. So we're just going to set our column names equal to these values over here. So the open time, open, high, low, close, volume, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to write this out and then we'll take a look. Okay, those are our column names now set. Now, if we go and take a look at our data frame again, you can see that we've now gone and set our column names. Now, you might choose to make these couple a little bit smaller, but I've gone and set them as they are, so it's all good. So what we've gone and written is hist_df.columns, and then we've actually gone and set those equal to the different column names that we had from up here. So I've just gone and passed through some examples. So open time, open, high, low, close, volume, close time, quote, asset volume, number of trades, trader base, what is it? Trader buy base volume, trader buy quote volume, and then I've passed through the ignore column. And then in order to visualize it, we've just written hist_df.head. So that gives us this thing over here. Now, again, you can view the bottom values, so tail, and that allows you to view the last 5 rows. Oh, so it looks like we've pulled through more than 500 rows of data. So this is all the way up to 1,427 over here. So you can see that, which will mean we've actually got 1,428 rows. So if we actually take a look at histdf.shape, you can see we've got 1,428 rows of data and we've got 12 columns. So those 12 columns map to these, the 1,428 8 days of data means we've got 1,428 days of data. So the rows map to days. Okay, now what was the next thing that we're going to do? Oh yeah, so right now the data types inside of this data frame aren't all well and good. So if we actually type in histdf.dtypes, you can see that half of our columns, or more than half of our columns, are actually stored as objects. So open, high, low, close, volume, close time, trader base volume, or trader buy base volume, trader buy quote volume, and ignore. These are set as objects. Now, object is just a fancy word for a string. So right now they're stored as strings, which sucks if you're trying to do financial analysis because you want these to be numeric values. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-process this and actually fix this stuff up. So again, data pre-processing and data understanding is a core part of the data science lifecycle. And right now, our data ain't in the right format. So we've got to go ahead and fix this up. So we're going to convert our open time and our close time down here to date time types. And we're going to convert our open, high, low, close volume and our quote asset volume. Number of trades is fine. Trader buy base volume and trader buy quote volume. We're going to convert that or convert those to floats for now. So let's go on ahead and do this. So first up, let's do our date. So we're going to convert open time and close time to date time values. Oh, I should also note that we're now into step 6. So we've done, so that's step 5 sort of done. We've gone and grabbed our historical data. We're now up to step 6 where we're going to pre-process it. Let's actually add a couple of additional rows so we can see that. So let's go and do this. Okay, that is our data, or those are our date columns now updated. So if we take in a look at our D types, you should see that done. So you can see that our open time and our close time are now date time 64 values. So this means that they're actually stored as dates. So if we actually take a look at it, by typing in .head, you can see that we've now got our different values now actually represented as a date time. So you can see that we've got 14th, 15th, what is that? The 14th of July 2017, 15th of July 2017, so on and so forth. So it looks like our, what is it, ETH BTC only goes back to 2017. So that's probably around about the date that it was listed. Now we can view the last 5 rows of data by typing in .tail. So again, this goes back to yesterday. So the 10th of June, 2021. We can see our close time there as well. Cool. So that is the first part of our data pre-processing done. Now you can see that all of our numeric values are still stored as strings. So we just got to go on ahead and update those now. So let's do that. So first up, what we're going to do is we're going to create a list to represent all of the values that we want to pre-process. So let's do this first, and then we'll actually go and apply the transformation. Okay, so those are our columns now stored in a list. So what I've just gone and written there is numeric underscore columns equals, and then I've passed through all of the object columns that are in our historical data frame as an object. So those ones that we actually want to go on ahead and convert them to numeric values. So specifically, I've gone and passed through open, high, low, close volume. So open, high, low, close volume. So these, is that 5 over there? And then we've also got quote asset volume, trader buy base volume, trader buy quote volume. So this value, and this value. So again, I've skipped the number of trades because that's already stored as an integer, which you can see there. So that's all well and good. We don't need to change that one. What we now need to do is actually go on ahead and apply that transformation to convert it to a numeric value now. So let's do it. So a core thing to call out is if I wanted to grab all of those columns, I can actually grab my historical data frame. So hist underscore df, pass through these numeric values, and that's going to filter the columns that have actually got available. Now, by doing this, what we're actually going to do is we're going to filter those columns and just apply this transformation on those set of columns. Okay, that is our transformation now done. So what I've gone and written is hist underscore df, and then inside of square brackets, numeric underscore columns, and we've set that equal to, again, the same set of columns. So again, what we're doing is we're applying the transformation in place. So hist underscore df, and then again in square brackets, numeric columns, which are over these. And then what we've gone and done is use the apply function or the apply method to go on ahead and convert these to numeric. So to that, we've passed through pd.toNumeric, and then we've specified axis equals 1 to perform it on the actual columns. So the full line is hist underscore df, square brackets, numeric columns, equals hist underscore df, square brackets, numeric columns, dot apply, and then to that we've passed through pd.to underscore numeric, and then set the axis parameter equal to 1. Now, if we go and take a look at our data should actually be, or these values should actually be numeric. So again, they're still floats, they're still integers where they need to be, but if we go and take a look at our D types, they've all now been converted. So you can see open, high, low, close, and volume. These are now floats, and our quote asset volume is a float, our trader by base volume is a float, and our trader by quote volume is also now a float. So that is our transformation now done. Now, if we wanted to go and perform some statistical analysis, we could actually grab our historical data frame .describe. And this will actually give us a whole bunch of statistical analysis. So again, you can grab the count, the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, all your different quartiles, and the max. Now, again, keep in mind, this is a huge volume of data. So you're going to grab a whole, or you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of variance. We can also type in, I believe, hist.summary. Nope, it's not summary, it's info. And this will give us a whole bunch of additional data on our data frame and whether or not we're missing any values. So again, we can grab all the different data types that are actually stored in there, the amount of memory that's being used, as well as all of our different columns and those types. So again, df.describe gives you all of your summary statistics. So you're able to grab the count, mean, standard deviation, the minimum, all your different quartiles, and the max. Now, keep in mind that this is only going to perform these summary statistics on your data that is numeric. So it's going to skip over your open time, your close time, and the ignore. Now, if we say include equals object, this will actually go and change the data type and actually go and perform those summary statistics on your object type columns. But again, this is not actually, so we can also do it on our date time. So let's grab that. So again, now we're going and grabbing our different data types on our columns. So again, you can do a whole bunch of analysis on this. So if we go back to our summary statistics, so again, you can do a whole bunch of analysis on this. You can play around with it, analyze your data. But again, I want to hear where you want to take this. So if there's something specific that you'd like to see, hit me up. But we're not done yet. We're going to go on ahead and visualize our data. So the last thing that we're going to do is under step 7, we're going to go on ahead and visualize our different data sets. Now, this is where we're going to go on ahead and use that MPL finance library that I was telling you about. So again, we're going to go on ahead and visualize our data to ideally produce something that looks a little bit like this. So let's go on ahead and do it. So first up, what we're going to do is import the MPL finance library. So let's do that. Okay, so that is the MPL finance library now imported. So what I've written there is import MPL finance as MPF. And then what we can go on ahead and do is actually visualize. So let's do this last thing. Okay, that is our visualization now done. So again, I've kept it pretty simple in this particular case, but we'll extend this out in a second. So what I've written is mpf.plot, and then to that, we've passed through our data frame with an index set. So specifically, I've passed through hist underscore df dot set underscore index, and then to that, we've passed through the close time. So this effectively means that we're grabbing our data frame. So let's actually take a look, dot set underscore index, pass through close time. So we're doing that, which basically means that we're going to be sorting our data by the close time. And then what we can actually do is take a look at the last 100 rows of data, so tail 100. So by limiting the amount of data that we actually pass through to this particular visualization, you're actually able to see the candlesticks. If we take off this tail value, what you'll see is that it's really, really small. So again, you might want to filter through how much data you actually visualize. Again, and you can see that you're actually getting this warning. So warning, you are plotting so much data that it may not be possible to see the details, candles, OHLC bars, etc. So if we actually limit the amount of data that we pass through, it's a little bit easier to see. So you can start to see that you're actually able to see the candles then. But it doesn't stop here. So we can actually extend this out further. So we can change the formatting. So let's do that. So simply by passing through the type of chart that we want, so in this case, I've set it to candles, there's a bunch of different types, and setting the style to Charles, you can see that we're already changing the look and feel. So we're now getting a candlestick graph, and we've gone and set some styling. We can also go and choose to bring in some volume data, so let's do that. And so that's our volume now applied. So in order to apply a volume, all I've done is specified volume equals true. So this allows you to visualize your volume in the same plot as well. Now we can also apply a title, and we can also apply some moving averages. So let's do that. And there you go. So what we've then gone and done is specified a title parameter. So title equals ETHBTC last 100 days. So again, you can change this to whatever you want. So say, for example, we did last 120 days. So we can change the tail value here to pull in different amounts of data, then change the title as well. And so you can see we're now bringing in 120 days of data, and we've changed the title up here. And then we've gone and also applied some moving averages. So you can see that we've got our moving average lines there as well. Now we can add in an additional moving average. Say we wanted a 30-day moving average. All we need to do is pass through 30 to this value. So to specify moving average, I've just typed in MAV equals, and then inside of a tuple, I've passed through the values that I want. So this is going to be a 10-day moving average, a 20-day moving average, or if it wasn't a daily data set, it'd be 20 period. And then I've gone and passed through a 30-day moving average as well. So if we go and visualize that, so you can now see that we've got a few different types of data. So this will be 10, this will be 20, this will be 30. So this allows you to visualize your data from Binance reasonably easily. I really like this package. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can do with this. This only sort of scratches the surface as to what you can actually pass through. But that in a nutshell sort of shows you what's actually possible with the Binance API. So that's a little bit of exploratory data analysis for you. Now, we've covered a bunch of stuff in this tutorial. So what we've gone through setup, how to get your API keys, how to authenticate, how to get ticker data, how to get market depth data, how to get historical data, as well as how to change your interval set. And then last but not least, I've shown how to actually go and pre-process your historical data to make it relevant for you. And then we've gone and visualized using MPL Finance, which gives you a pretty chart like this. And on that note, that about wraps it up.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and tick that bell so you get notified of when I release future videos. And again, this is going to be a continuing series. So if you've got feedback, or if you want to see a particular type of thing or a particular type of implementation, do hit me up in the comments below. I really want your feedback on this one. Thanks again for tuning in. Peace.